Hi, everybody. Hi, welcome to Uncover Paranormal with Blair. That's me. I'm Blair. Alice, emoji. Hello, hello. You're good, Kim. You're good. Hi, Alice. How are you? So as you guys know, of course. Oh, what is this? Excuse me. Sorry, I got really distracted. As you guys know, of course, my guest today is Kim Possible. So I'm super excited about that. We will see her in just a second. But welcome to Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods. Not quite Jesse, but sure. Hi, Fun Size. Hi, everybody. Thank you guys for everything. You guys are so sweet. So today's episode of Uncover Paranormal is a little bit different than our last episodes because I wanted to really test your knowledge on the paranormal. I wanted to see if we've learned anything for the past few shows of paranormal, and I wanted to see if I've done my job in really describing paranormal to you guys and really helping you guys understand what it is paranormal really means, because it covers a lot of ground. Hi, Lexi. How are you? So tonight we're going to do something a little bit different, something that we haven't really done. So I'm super excited for that. The two topics tonight are very much not what we have talked about before, but I promise they will have an Uncover Paranormal twist on them. As I researched them, they definitely did have something. Deepwood Country, how are you? Happy early birthday, Jesse. For those of you who don't know, by the way, too, I, Blair Woods, hi, am a singer-songwriter. So, of course, on Wednesdays, we do Uncover Paranormal, but you guys can also check me out on Spotify and Apple Music and any other platform you choose. For my music, I've got 7 singles out as well. We're working to try and get something Christmassy out soon, and to try and get a big project out to you guys very, very soon as well. Thank you so much for the martinis. Hi, guys. Welcome. I'm assuming paranormal, you mean ghost. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, well, now you know. Welcome to Uncover Paranormal, guys. Welcome to the show. So, of course, you know, I just told you guys, aside from being a singer-songwriter, Wednesday nights tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys for being on time. By the way, we do get started pretty fast, so you don't want to ever be late. But I do try to recap as I can as we go through. We go through and we discuss paranormal. We discuss paranormal events, paranormal creatures, mythological, which falls into paranormal. And for those of you who are new here, welcome. Thank you, by the way, Emoji J, for recording. If you guys want to rewatch this, you can. You can find Emoji J on YouTube, and Emoji J records a lot of the shows, so you guys can actually recap a lot of other shows as well. So, that being said, those of you who are new, welcome again. Do you guys understand what paranormal means? Does anyone know exactly what paranormal means? Do you guys remember the definition? I have it right here. If not, it's okay. Hi, Katie. Okay, so we do know what paranormal means. We know, we have an understanding of it. I just wish I didn't. I felt that. So we do have quite the definition. You're so sweet. Thank you. We do have quite the definition. So by definition for paranormal, it is not just ghosts. It's actually denoting events or phenomena that are like telekinesis, clairvoyance. So telekinesis is more on the scientific type of side of it. And we will have shows where we dive into those bits of paranormal as well. But then we also have clairvoyance, which of course is you know, your ghosts and your spiritual world. But what a lot of people don't understand too is that paranormal by definition also describes events or things or creatures that science can't explain, that is not understood by science. So for those of you just joining, welcome. This is Uncover Paranormal with Blair. We are early in the show, but don't forget we do this every Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to be late. Hi, Blueface. So you guys don't want to be late. You guys want to make sure you're here because we start pretty fast. Today's guest is Kim Possible. We will see her in just a second. I'm super excited for that. And I'm super excited for the topics tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know we're doing something a little different than we normally do. I just went over the definition of paranormal. It goes across a lot more than just ghosts. So for those of you who thought paranormal was just going to be about ghosts, I am here to tell you it's a little more than that. So tonight, instead of ghost topics, I picked two topics that I have always really been interested in. I never really knew the history behind them. And so we're going to dive into unicorns and centaurs. So I know that sounds like it's going to be all rainbows and butterflies. And I picked it because it does, from the outside looking in, sound like rainbows and butterflies. And when I think of Kim Possible, I think of rainbows and butterflies. But Kim, I hate it for you. It's not all rainbows and butterflies when it comes to unicorns and centaurs. So I hope you guys are ready for tonight's show. Not only do we have the topic of unicorns and centaurs that we're diving into, we are also diving into Kim's own personal paranormal experience. So I hope that you guys are ready. I hope you guys are excited. Tell me in the chat right now, do you guys think, one, do you guys even believe in the paranormal? And two, do you guys believe in unicorns and centaurs? Do you guys believe in the mythological aspect, the paranormal of unicorns and centaurs? Not sure. We got a lot of yeses. We got I do, all of the above. Yes. I love it. I love it. Yes. Okay. I love it. I'm very open-minded, so I'd like to say I believe in them too. I see that people saying, yes, for the unicorn emoji. I wish, do they have a centaur emoji? If you can find a centaur emoji, I'll shout you out. Put it down. Put it down. No, they don't. Boo. Okay, well, that's upsetting. Anyhow, so we're going to dive into those. I wanted to see what you guys thought of those topics first, because we are going to prove that one actually could potentially have existed. I will say there is one that I solely believe actually did exist, and there's another one that I believe is definitely up for debate if it's real or not, but I figured I'd add a little twist to tonight's episode and see if we can go through and figure out which mythological creature, which paranormal creature was real, could potentially be real, and which one is more than likely just folklore. So we are going to go ahead and go into that. Last week's show, of course, you guys know we had Blake premiere on the show. We went over the rake and shadow people. If you guys missed that, you guys missed a lot of really cool stuff. Blake actually was kind of the inspiration behind why I'm doing what I'm doing, because he did make me start to question these creatures. So that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm still a little under the weather, so we're going to have several hydration breaks. Kim, are you in the chat? Are you still there, baby? Okay. Kim, I'm going to go ahead and have you request the box, and I'm going to get you in just a second. So, that being said, tonight's guest is Kim Possible. If you guys don't already know who Kim Possible is, you guys, I don't know what to tell you, guys are missing out. You guys are under a rock right now. Go ahead and favorite her when I have her in the box. Hello, love. I like that you have it dark and spooky in there too. Wait, I gotta turn it up. There we go.
I'm using my TV as lighting.
That's, you know, we gotta do what we gotta do. Okay, so real fast, do you believe in the paranormal?
I do.
You do? Okay. That's good, because that's what the show's about. I just dropped every bit of paperwork that I had over there. You guys all heard that too. Good.
It's okay.
Okay, so guys, Kim also believes in the paranormal. I love that so much. I personally, of course, do believe in the paranormal. Why would I be hosting this show if I didn't? It would be a little weird. Do you believe, Kim, in unicorns?
You know, I've only heard of unicorns in the rainbow and butterfly aspect, but not in the actual other aspects. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say about them.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know what a unicorn is, it is quite literally a horse with a triangular cylindrical type of horn on its head. At least that's what we thought it was. And
Yeah.
it still is kind of like that, but where it originated from, it originated slightly different in imagery, which I thought was really interesting. So it's often used as a symbol of fantasy and rarity, and I'll go ahead and show you guys what a unicorn, so to speak, looked like in the first days. And it is still pretty much horse-like with a horn on its head, but it's a little different than what we thought. So this is the unicorn. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Kim, I'm gonna make you medium sized now that that's out of the way. Okay. So we got the unicorn down pat. You guys saw that. Hopefully this time next week I'll have OBS so you guys can see that the whole time. So unicorns are actually really interesting creatures because a lot of people think that they are horses with a horn on its head, and they think of Lisa Frank. They think of sunshine and butterflies. What is your first thought on a unicorn when you hear the word unicorn? What do you imagine, Kim?
Unicorn, like I said, I think of like rainbows and butterflies, and like I just think of like going into a store and always seeing like plush dolls, like white heads, like a horse with a gold or silver.
Yes.
Or,
And they always have the gold and the silver. Like it's never just like a normal color too.
yeah.
I love that. So they are actually described as resembling a horse or a goat in some cultures. The very first unicorn ever was actually said to have looked like a goat with a horn on its head, not a horse, but it was an oversized goat, so that's where the horse kind of came into it, because it looked and resembled a horse, but it wasn't quite. So I don't know if you guys can see the little like feet that it's got going on here.
Yeah, the hoops.
And then the little head, it kind of looks like a horse, but also kind of doesn't. So very, very cool that it actually originated from a goat and not a horse. Very strange. So, of course, when we think of unicorn, we think of the sparkly thing. You guys know that. We just went over that. But we also think of the unicorn having good character, having, being very sweet and being very kind, maybe even being a little funny, or I don't know if you guys ever saw Charlie and the Unicorn or Charlie the Unicorn on YouTube way back when, the Charlie,
Oh, I think so. I think so.
So, even then, like those unicorns, like they're silly and they're funny, and I think a lot of us think of unicorns as like this light character, and a lot of cultures do still think of unicorns as this light character, and they think of it as like this nice like animal. What do you imagine a unicorn as far as its character would be? What would you imagine it being like?
For me, I would imagine unicorns. Like, I do imagine them being magical. Like, everything I know about unicorns is just like from fairy tales and
Yeah.
everything. So I have no idea what to expect a real unicorn to have.
So I love that fairy tales are brought up, because I feel like fairy tales in a lot of the case do kind of sugarcoat and put pretty sparkles on things, and that's kind of like that's it, and that's what you kind of end it with. But when we start diving into the unicorn, it actually is it never was like too terribly evil. It's not evil. It's more misunderstood than anything. So a lot of people automatically assume that a unicorn is what you guys to think about these things when we're thinking about these paranormal creatures or entities. At the end of the day, they're just like you and I. They might not be people. they might not be human, but you have to think like they have feelings, they have their own nature about them. So if unicorns, you know, you have to think about it. If they are goats or horses with horns on their heads, like what do you think a horse or a goat's going to act like? Not all of them are nice. Not all of them are well-mannered. Not all of them are rainbows and butterflies like we like to think about. And so the first early unicorn sighting and unicorn recording and drawing was actually from the Mesopotamian artworks. So that's, let me see, it says 400 BCE. So unicorns have been around a long time, like a long time. And of course, you know, as time goes on, we take these folklores and we kind of butter them up. They change as we go. And so, of course, they, you know, derived from Mesopotamian artworks. But of course, the earliest description of a unicorn also was in Greek literature of a single horned animal, and it was by the historian Ctesias. And that's actually Ctesias, Ctesias, and that was also 400 BCE. It was said to be a white-bodied horse with a purple head and blue eyes. Oh my God! Lexi, yes, it's a unicorn. I love it. So when you think of unicorn, I feel like the white body, the purple head, and the blue eyes really does kind of fit the Lisa Frank bill, if we're being honest. Like there's some truth to that. So when you think of unicorn and you think of the real unicorn, it being a white-bodied horse with a purple head and blue eyes, what do you think the horn would look like?
Purple head and blue eyes with the white body. I think the horn would be very different than what we all imagine it to be.
Yes. So in the color scheme of things, it doesn't match. That was the one part about this that I don't know for any of you guys in the chat if you guys are a perfectionist or if you guys like things to look a certain way, like when you're putting things all together, it doesn't match. So their horns are actually red-tipped, black in the center, and a white on the end. So very strange color combo with a purple head and a white body.
Very weird.
Very weird. I have to imagine the purple probably isn't a beautiful lilac. It's probably a very dark purple. You know?
Yeah.
Like, especially if we're diving into this and we're thinking about, like, what people back then would use as a purple coloring. I'm trying to, like, imagine it from the arts, from, like, Mesopotamian artwork, like, their walls. Obviously, the picture I showed you guys, this is something similar, and it was drawn, but it's basically in black and white. It's like that yellowy white, and it's in black. So we can't really tell what colors they thought it was, but I have to imagine with them using berries for colors, it was probably a dark purple, just from that knowledge. But I do think it's interesting that they decided that the horn was going to be a red tip, black center, and white, almost like a candy corn. Very interesting. For those of you who just came back in, who are just joining, hi, this is Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods. I'm Blair. This is Kim Possible, my special guest tonight.
Okay.
Don't forget to favorite her. She also has her own show that she is working on. Do you want to plug that really fast?
Yeah, I have a show. It's called Talent Exposed. The actual premiere of it is November 28th. And I interview upcoming talent from the performing and creative arts industry from on and off the app. And it happens at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
We love that. So don't forget to tune into that as well, guys. So tonight's topic on Uncover Paranormal is actually something a little different than what we've been doing. So we are going over first unicorns, second centaurs, and then we're going to let Kim have the floor and tell us a little paranormal adventure or story or experience of her own. So I hope you guys are ready. If you guys just missed it, we were talking about unicorns. We're still going into unicorns. I know when you guys first think of paranormal, you guys think of ghosts, but I wanted to challenge you guys to think of other things. I wanted to open your minds just a little bit more tonight. And so when you think of unicorns, when you think of centaurs, you think of magical things. You think of unicorns as bright and sparkly. When I think of centaurs, I first imagine Harry Potter centaurs. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you guys. Or the ones from The Witch in the Wardrobe. I don't think of anything less. So I wanted to dive into these creatures and really see their original, origins and where they, originated from, what colors they might have actually thought they were, and what kind of creature, what kind of character they might have had. Because I'm sorry, Lisa Frank, but a unicorn cannot just be all sparkles and glitter. We all know that that's not real. So I want to know what the real unicorn is like, and that's exactly what we're learning right now. We're going over it with Miss Kim up here. So I just let you guys know that the unicorn originally appeared in early Mesopotamian artworks. Of course, the earliest description was in Greek literature. We see that's at 400 BCE. So unicorns have been around for a while, which is wild to me, that something so sparkly has been around for so long. um, so with that being said, of course, when you think of unicorn, do you think of any healing properties, Kim? Do you think of any powers that it might have? And what powers do you think a unicorn would have?
I think a unicorn would probably maybe have like the healing powers to like maybe just to help heal something. I don't know. um,
I agree with that 100%. When I think of unicorns, I also think of healing powers. I think of magic. So, of course, with magic, we think healing. We think just anything is possible kind of under the sun. And I like that about unicorns. I like that they have that stigma behind them. I really enjoy the idea of thinking that, something is more than it is. So, with that being said, what I dug up, they actually did think that unicorns had healing properties. And of course, with any animal that has a horn or tusks, they always think that it's inside the horn and the tusk. So they did think that unicorns had healing properties in their horns. I want you guys to remember that statement. And they also thought that those who drank from the horn would be free from any poison, epilepsy, or stomach viruses, which is really interesting that it was that specific. But when I think of that, what is the first thing that you think could go wrong with that, Kim?
I think a lot could go wrong with that. There's just so much that could go wrong with that.
Yes. So, of course, when we think of an animal having a tusk or a horn, and people automatically thinking that that can cure certain things, especially in that time, probably common things. Um, I'm trying to think of a good word. For lack of better words, the murder, the killing of that animal is immediately what my mind goes for. And I think of, well, that's not good for that animal. No wonder it doesn't exist anymore, if it ever did exist, because people probably killed it extinct because they thought that they could drink from the horn and it cure everything. So with that being said, I want you guys to take that in as you will. I want you guys to remember that. I want you guys to really kind of stomach it and think about it from an open-minded perspective. If that is the case, do you think that these animals could have been real? Because a lot of people, of course, automatically want to think that unicorns aren't real. My cat's being awful. Hey, stop it. a lot of people think that unicorns aren't real just simply because of all like the magic and the sparkles and stuff like that. But we don't really like dive into the origin of these animals. And because this was said to have started in 400 BCE, I have to wonder if this animal was actually real. And this was a real animal that maybe potentially humans made it extinct, as we do a lot of animals, because we thought that their horns were magical healing properties. What do you think, Kim?
Yeah, I think they definitely could be real. You know, dinosaurs were real and they went extinct. You know, we don't know what unicorns were made of, like like if they had bones, like what they were made out of. It could have disintegrated instead of just be a fossil in the ground or something. So I feel like unicorns could be real, and maybe we just don't know it because that's where the magical part comes from.
Exactly, exactly. I really love that answer too. Very open-minded answer. I want us to think about that too, because when you mentioned dinosaurs, I got really excited because I was like, yes, yes. Because if you think about it, these animals definitely could have existed when dinosaurs existed, and automatically you start thinking about that. You start thinking, what if one of these really big dinosaurs, because it never says like what size these unicorns were. All of the drawings are all different sizes. They range from massive animals to like small pets like a big dog. So we don't really know how big or how small it was. And we also don't know, if it existed while dinosaurs existed, if dinosaurs were actually more similar to unicorns, and if unicorns were more similar to dinosaurs, and vice versa. Um, Someone in the comment is actually quoting Bible verses, and I am not religious myself, but that brings me to my next topic, or to my next point of this topic. Unicorns actually are not just mentioned in ancient drawings and ancient Greek literature, they're mentioned in several different depictions of the Bible. Several different, which I thought was really interesting because it's the Bible. That's religion. We dive into religion now, which we won't dive into religion, but we will dive into the fact that in the Bible there are several different verses and several different stories that mention um, a unicorn or an animal with a horn, or a they mention how rhinoceroses are derived from unicorns, how their body structure, which isn't so far off, honestly. If we're really thinking about it, it's not far off at all. That's definitely where they could have, where rhinoceroses could have came from. They could have came from unicorns. Unicorns were probably around when dinosaurs were around, when religion kind of first started. So, with that being said, what are your thoughts on that? That now that we know that unicorns were actually legitimately mentioned in the Bible?
I think that's crazy. I think um, I think that means something. And like you're talking about the rhinoceroses, like and like how they do have that horn,
Mhm.
that single horn coming out. Like, yeah, I think it makes perfect sense that they could be related, like maybe in the same kind of family or something.
Absolutely. Um, so the horn of the unicorn that I saw, one of the stories in the Bible. There's like several different stories that talk about it. They actually call it a unicorn, but they use the Greek version of it, which is I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's similar spelling. It's just slightly off because obviously it's a unicorn, but in Greek. And they mention in one of the stories, we actually have someone in the chat that is, interestingly enough, really well versed on this. So shout out to you, unknown, because you're reading my mind. But the horn of the unicorn is actually a symbol of Jesus. It was said in the Bible, and I don't know the exact quote because they didn't give the exact quote, but basically the description that I found was, at one point, someone had offered, not a sacrifice, but offered knowledge or wisdom that they had derived from the unicorn, from the one horned beast to gift towards finding Jesus, to help them lead them to Jesus. And that was kind of interesting to me to think like a unicorn led people to Jesus. But I was like, I went with it. I was like, okay. So I was going through it, and it was kind of interesting because it was talking about, you know, in biblical times and then before biblical times, how the unicorn's horn not only was a symbol of healing and was a symbol of just, you know, magical properties that could have helped heal humans, but it also was an animal that in several different versions of the Bible and several different uh, places in history helped lead other people to certain things. So of course in the Bible's instance helped lead those people to Jesus, and you know, Greek mythology helped lead people to better health, and it was just very interesting to read that you know, unicorns, the story of the unicorn is told in multiple different cultures and multiple different religions and multiple different time frames, and it all still lines up pretty similar and pretty accurate, even though they don't specifically call them unicorns versus, you know, some people actually do call them unicorns. So I thought that was really interesting. And now, with that being said, we're going to dive into the small, dark part of the unicorn, and I'm going to ruin everyone's childhood for just 2 seconds. So even though this unicorn has magical properties, we're learning about it. We're learning about how at one point in the Bible it led it to Jesus, or it led people to Jesus. So we're thinking that maybe even unicorns could have been around when dinosaurs were, and they, you know, or the rhinoceroses are now what unicorns look like now. They're just a beefy version of unicorns. It has been said in the very first, not the first, but the 7th century, some of the first sightings of unicorns in the wild, which of course, take a step back and realize that if this is something, of course, I believe it's real, but for those of you who might not, when you're thinking of an animal, they're wild animals. They do this happens. But it is said that the very first sightings in the 7th century of unicorns, they were very malicious and they sought out to kill any other animal in its path and its territory. And that broke my heart a little bit because I was like, no, they were good until that. But so apparently they do have a temper. Apparently they do they do have a, I guess, an anger issue towards other animals. They don't like, they're very territorial. So this article said, the minute that they, you know, came across another animal, such as like an elephant or anything of the sort, they would kill it in the stomach with its horn to eat it. And so I know I just killed everybody's childhood with that. But of course, on Uncover Paranormal, there's always some sort of a twist. And so, do you think that they were talking about a rhino? No, because this was the 7th century, and the pictures were quite similar to the one I showed you guys before. But I don't think it's off base that a unicorn could be derived from, or a rhino, I should say, could be derived from a unicorn. I don't think it's impossible. Evolution could have done its thing, because I highly believe in evolution. Whether you believe in it or not, it does make sense that could have happened. But Kim, what are your thoughts now that you know that a unicorn is not all innocent?
My thoughts are just that, I mean, everybody has their emotions, so I guess even unicorns have their emotions and how they react to things such as other animals or things.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't, I don't even know the word right now. It just doesn't shock me that it's that they're like that.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, now I have some questions for not only you, but for the people in the chat. You guys in the chat, feel free to tell me your answers in the chat, but these are also questions for Kim. So Kim, I'm going to make you answer them too. With the unicorn, now that we know everything we know about it, by the way, guys, welcome to Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods. We're going over paranormal unicorns today with Kim Possible. Don't forget to favorite Kim. So my big question for you, Kim, and audience, could a unicorn be real? Do you guys believe in it now if you didn't before? And are you guys, if you guys already did believe in it, are you guys even more like solid in your yes, I believe in it?
I do believe in it. I mean, I believed it was once around.
Absolutely. Do we believe that it could still be around, or do we believe that it was extinct?
I think it was extinct. Because we don't hear any stories about it. Like, you didn't dig up anything on the interwebs about it, people seeing. So I feel like it's extinct now.
That is actually rolling into my next question, because I thought about that. Because while I did not find any recent sightings of a unicorn, of course, we did dive into the possibility that it could be now known as the rhinoceros or any other similar animals that we know now. Because it is known to have medicinal properties in the horn, do you think that those medicinal properties in the horn could probably cure diseases known today or diseases known a couple hundred years ago?
I think it could be either way because, like, everything is a trial and error with when it comes to like anything, like even like with like a COVID vaccine, we're still figuring out. So like
Absolutely.
with unicorn horn properties, like we don't know, like it could work or it could not work. So it could go either way.
My thoughts on it were kind of interesting, and I'm going to tell you guys because I want you guys to really ponder this and think about it. If there were medicinal properties, I'm not talking about magic. I'm not talking about like, ooh, you're magically healed. I'm talking about medicine, like medicinal medicine properties. Same as medicine that we know today. This is just a little different because it comes from a horn of a unicorn, but a lot of medicine in the past was derived from certain parts of animals or certain trees or certain plants. So think about it in that perspective, from like a scientist kind of perspective. Um, if they did have medicinal properties, do you think that maybe they went extinct because of those medicinal properties in the horns and people not understanding over hunting and or overpopulation and vice versa?
It could have definitely been because of that. Because there are animals in that exist that are going extinct because of certain properties that they have, and
Yes,
it could have been that.
exactly. Another thing that I thought about too, and this is kind of the last thing I thought about because we, of course, we're diving into the evolution of a unicorn as well, is if it's possible, could it have been something that people were cutting off the horns, and maybe slowly but surely these unicorns were evolving to live without a horn, and they started being born as what we now know as horses, so without the horn at all?
Yeah, that could definitely also be a factor. Um,
For sure.
I wouldn't put it past me if horses had something to do with unicorns because they do, from just the image that you showed us, look similar.
Yeah. 1 second, my cat's being really bad. I'm so sorry. Hey,
So,
you. Bye. One day I'm just going to be able to kick her out so that she doesn't interrupt these streams. One day. So, for those of you just joining in, this is Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods and Kim Possible. Don't forget to favorite Kim. That was topic number 1 of the night. If you guys missed it, that was unicorns. We dove into unicorns. I wanted to really open you guys' minds this night, this episode, about what it means to be paranormal and what it means to have paranormal experiences. It's not just mythological creature sightings. It's not just ghosts. It's not just demons and scary stuff. It's also your mythological creatures. It's also unicorn. Thank you, Lexi. It's also, you know, Greek mythology. It's a lot of different things that scientists don't necessarily understand. So I wanted to dive into it and maybe open our minds to maybe understand these creatures. So, of course, our first topic for the night was the unicorn. In a synopsis, we went over it, and we decided that maybe it could potassium. It could possibly have been around when the dinosaurs were, that it could possibly now be what we know as a rhinoceros or a horse if evolution took its course correctly or incorrectly. And also, of course, you know, a good point that Kim, you had brought up, and someone else actually agreed, that if it was made out of the same material as a rhinoceros horn, that the horn itself probably disintegrated. So what we see as bones of certain like horses and things could actually be unicorns without the horns. So if we see fossils of things that look like horses or fossils of things that look like ginormous horses, they might actually have been unicorns and the horn disintegrated during fossilization. So I don't think I said that right. I'm pretty sure I did not say that right. But we just went over unicorns. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. I see you guys are just joining. Welcome. This is Uncover Paranormal with Blair. I'm going to take a little sip of water. Now, Kim, and those of you in the chat, our next topic is something very similar to the unicorn fantasy, and they are centaurs. So, first of all, do you guys believe in centaurs? Do you guys believe centaurs were real or are real or could have been real?
To be honest, this is the first time I'm ever hearing of a centaur.
Really?
So I know nothing. I don't know what they look like. So this is like...
Well, it's a good day for you because I brought a picture. I'm going to put this small so everyone can kind of see it really fast. Okay. So this is what a centaur... I bleeped out its private parts because it showed too much. And I don't want my stream to get banned. So this is what a centaur looks like. It's half horse, half man.
Okay, so it's like, what's his name from Hercules?
Exactly. Yes. So, you know, you got a dude that's also a horse. And in this picture, he's throwing a rock at this tiger-looking guy. And the tiger looks like killed another centaur. So is harming another centaur. So he's trying to prevent that from happening. It's not quite Zeus, but we will dive into that. I see that. Very good catch, very good eye. So I'm going to put you back medium. So a centaur, again, is half man, half horse. It is actually derived from Greek mythology. And so it's very interesting. There's not much on it. And again, you guys, I want you to remember unicorns and the possibility of them existing. We're going to go into centaurs and the possibility of them existing. And we're going to figure out which one is something that could have actually existed and which one might actually be completely made up. So we're going to go into it. For those of you who don't know Greek mythology at all, I'm going to dive into something very short. I'm not going to dive into Greek mythology in a whole because that is literally a whole other stream. So basically, if you don't know what the Greek gods are, there are several different gods for several different emotions, and that is the way that in Greece they figured out how life worked. So essentially, They believed that certain gods were the reason the sea worked the way it did. They believed that certain gods were the reason the weather worked the way it did. Certain gods were the reason your luck and your belief in God worked the way it did, and so forth. So there's a lot of, I'm trying to think of how to word it. There's a lot of history in that. If you guys are interested in that, we can definitely do different streams of Greek mythology. There's a lot to dive into that. So I don't want to dive into that because obviously that would take forever. But there are, of course, some favorite Greek gods of mine and goddesses, and some not so favorite. But we're gonna dive into centaurs today. They are origin of Greece. So the Greek people are the people who kind of made, centaurs, at least the story of centaurs, a thing. They are said to have been created by Greek gods born of, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I'm going to do it my best because it's spelled weird, but Ixion and Nephil. And Ixion is Ixion, which is why I'm saying Ixion. I'm not really sure if that's how you say it. But those two, that god and goddess, and it was basically the centaurs were created out of rage, out of jealousy. So they were trying to, I believe it was Ixion, was trying to win over Nephil, or so on and so forth. One of them was trying to win over the other, and from then they were trying to, out of jealousy, win over another female, which usually happens, let's be real, in any sort of male trying to win over a female. Something bad comes out of it, or something weird comes out of it. And of course, within them trying to win over the female, somehow a half man, half horse was created. Very strange. So it didn't go into how exactly it was created. Again, that's another stream that I could go into. But that is what they think, or how they think a centaur was created. It does possess human intelligence and speech, and the time frame that it was created, that the stories and the legends started being told, were 522 to 443 BC. So again, another super old legend, could be not legend, but if I had to guess, if I had to just like kind of guess, they might have had something to do with unicorns, just in slightly different, places and eras, because there was a lot of horse-related creatures created in Greek mythology and in Greece in general. So, who knows on that part? That was never confirmed. Someone asked in the chat, were they evil? We are going to get into that in just a second. If those of you who are new or who have never been in the show before don't know what this is Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods. I'm Blair Woods. This is my guest, Kim Possible. Don't forget to favorite her, guys. She is phenomenal. She's got her own show. I'll let her tell you guys about it at the end of the stream as well. And she has a story for you guys at the very end of the stream as well. So don't forget to stick around for the end of the stream. So welcome everybody who's new. We just went over unicorns. Now we're diving into centaurs. I wanted to really open you guys' mind up to what paranormal really is. So we're going into centaurs right now. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a half man, half horse. I automatically think of Harry Potter or The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Kim, you mentioned the character of Hercules. So there's a lot of different centaurs depicted in movies and shows and stories, and they originated from Greece, from the Greek gods. Centaurs were the love child of a Greek god and a Greek goddess that were, the Greek god was he was jealous and he was trying to win over the Greek goddess, and somehow they mashed together. We won't go into that because you guys know what happens when that happens. And a centaur was born. So, of course, Greek mythology also always has to make things about sex. But of course, that's not the point of centaurs. That's not the reason that we're here. That's not the reason we're discussing them. That is just how they apparently were made. So they are followers of Dionysus, the god of wine, which, if we're being honest, we're all followers of the god of wine, like, bless. That goes back into, of course, the Greek mythology. I was telling you guys, they had a reason for how everything worked, and basically every reason for how everything worked came from a god, a demigod, a goddess, anything. So that being said, their temperament. What do you think of when you think of a centaur, guys in the chat and Kim? When you think of a centaur, they're not as glittery and magical as unicorns. So when you think of a centaur, they're typically, usually all of them are male. I've never seen a female one, and it didn't show a female one in my research, so I'm assuming that they're all male. But in that, what do you think their character is? What do you think their temperament is? What do you think that they they are like, is what I'm trying to see.
I feel like they might have like a heavy temper, like like just because like we've only seen like male, as you said. I feel like because they're all male, that maybe they're more on the high temper side.
Yes. So, of course, with anything, in 2020, we never label anybody. Of course, we don't like to do a blanket statement for anybody. So I would like to preface what I'm about to say with, this is not a blanket statement for males now. So men in the chat, don't get butthurt. But when we go back into mythology and folklore and any creation of any sort of animal or beast or topic, we automatically assume the female is a nurturing, loving character, and the male is more on the violent side, more temperamental, more angry. So with that being said, your thought process on that, Kim, was very, very correct. So they are known for being rowdy and savage, as most male figures in folklore and in mythology are. And they are also short-tempered and heavy drinkers. So while they are not consistently mean, they're not consistently evil creatures, they are known for having a weakness for alcohol, which is why they are known as the followers of the god of wine. So once they get to drinking, they get rowdy, they get short-tempered, they get super mean. They're known to kill at that point just because. Same with the unicorns, except for in this case, they would kill people. Or of course animals, if they were, that one that you guys saw in that picture was just protecting his partner, but they were known to get rowdy and just kill just to kill, which we all know in old stories about war, about folklore, anything in the Bible, anything outside of the Bible. Anytime we mention men getting drunk, they are all rowdy and murders will happen just because. So again, not a blanket statement for this day and age for you guys. I realize that's not true. It's not accurate, but that is what we know, what we are taught when we are taught certain stories of, you know, male characters and, you know, just male characters in folklore and in mythology. So of course, you know, with that being said, these creatures of are male, and you know, once they get their alcohol, they get really short tempered. Now when I was reading that and I saw that they had a weakness and that it was alcohol and that they were short tempered, I have to ask you guys in the chat, I have to ask you, Kim, do you think that's a metaphor? Do you think it's actually a metaphor? Do you think that this whole half man half horse and its weaknesses and its character and temperament are actually a metaphor for men with their own demons?
It could be.
I felt that. I was getting that vibe when I was reading about it. I was like, this sounds more or less like another a way for the Greek people to deal with, you know, the demons of alcoholism and the, you know, the early demons of alcoholism and anger as well. So I thought about that because, of course, we do know the background. I told you guys Greek history in general typically goes and makes a god, a goddess, a demigod, or a creature based off of what they think is a reason for, something happening in their life or something happening in the world. So I do think that that's a possibility. I wanted to see what you guys thought on that too. So now my next question for you guys, since we know everything we know about centaurs, I told you guys it was pretty short. The unicorns kind of were a lot longer because unicorns have a lot more history behind them. Could centaurs exist? Do we believe in centaurs? Do we really believe a half man, half horse could exist? Or do you think people maybe made them up for a metaphor on your your inner demons as a male? Or do you also think that people just got scared of people first on horseback and thought that a person on a horse was actually half man, half horse?
I think that they could have been real because honestly, like, we were not around back then, so we have no living proof. And like, we have all these stories from like Greek gods and everything, and like they're coming from like we see them in like all these movies and stuff, and like especially Hercules. So I feel like there could be a point or a time where they maybe did exist.
Absolutely. So I want you guys to really ponder on it. I put that last one in there because when I was reading it, someone had mentioned that the sightings of centaurs, since there are no accurate sightings, the only sightings that people saw, people thought that maybe after knowing what they know about the Greek mythology, people saw people on horseback for the first time ever, got freaked out, and thought that centaurs were real because of that. So for those of you just joining, by the way, this is Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods. We're going over unicorns and centaurs with Kim Possible. Don't forget to favorite her. I wanted to broaden the scope of what it means to be paranormal, and that's what we are doing tonight. And now the big question for everybody before we get into Kim's story is, Kim and people in the chat, which one do you think was a legitimate animal? Unicorns or centaurs?
Definitely unicorns.
I'm going with unicorns too. Everyone seems to be going with unicorns. So everyone seems to be going with unicorns. It looks like Katie went with centaurs. Katie, by the way, it's centaur with a C. Very weird. Centaur, like Taurus. That's kind of where they get Taurus, by the way, for your astrological peeps in the chat. That's
I
where
am a Taurus.
Me too. I am too. That's where Taurus is actually derived from that half man, half horse. That's where your bull is derived from, actually, is Greek mythology, of course. Centaur, Taurus, got it. So anyhow, that's a whole nother topic as well. I believe that the unicorns could definitely be in existence. I 100% believe that they could have evolved and now are rhinoceroses or anything under the sort, horses from just mythology, not mythology, from what is it? I just said the word.
Mystical.
Not mystical. From evolution. There we go. Way off. From evolution. So, of course, we have evolution. Things can go really wrong or really right. So, it could either be that horses were once unicorns or rhinoceroses were once unicorns, or both. So since that is being said, I honestly do think that unicorns could have been the real ones. Because I know too much about Greek mythology, I am not sold on centaurs being real. I do think it was more of a metaphor for alcoholism and a man's inner demons when it comes to that. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if the people that did see people on horseback for the first time ever, like that was their reasoning to believe that centaurs were real. But that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. We are not done yet. we have Kim Possible here to tell you guys a paranormal type of story, or event or anything really relatable. We always let the guests tell their story, of course. That means that you can tell us anything under the sun, Kim, about a paranormal experience you've had, you know of, or something that interests you in the paranormal world. I'm going to go ahead and make you large and give you the floor.
Okay, so I have like two short stories. One is, has anybody in the chat heard of the Amityville Horror House? Blair has heard of it. Okay, so I've actually been to that house. It's and I've it's basically you get all kinds of vibes. When I was standing outside that house for a little bit, and you definitely feel the spirit vibes. And
I love
it's said that there are spirits inside the house still.
when you say spirit vibes, just because I'm clairvoyant, so obviously you already know what I feel when I feel spirits, but I want to know because I don't really know if it's different for other people or what you feel when you say spirit vibe. Elaborate on that.
Just like getting like some like weird feelings,
Like
like
uneasy.
yeah, uneasy.
Okay, I love that. That's crazy.
And
Okay.
then the second thing, just wanted to quickly bring it up, but I live close by to Sleepy Hollow, which is where all the headless horsemen and stuff is made from. And
I love that.
so I wasn't there recently or haven't been there in years, but um, yeah, I've been there, and it's definitely a great place to go during Halloween season when COVID isn't happening.
Yes, for sure. Freaking COVID, man. Dude, that's exciting. I would love to go check out the Amityville Horror just because, like, it's the Amityville Horror House. But I also really, when you first told me about Sleepy Hollow, I got so excited because, like, I've always read about it. I've seen the plays. I've been in one of the plays. Like, it just is so cool to me. And I guess, knowing what I knew about it, I never really took the time to look it up and realize that there is actually a Sleepy Hollow in existence. And it blew my mind when you told me that because I was like, wait a second. Sleepy Hollow is like real? Are you kidding me? Like,
Oh yeah.
so now I'm intrigued and now I need to go. And I feel like post COVID, we need to plan like a creators trip where we go and we stream and see if we see anything spooky. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That'd be a lot of fun. Well, thank you so much, Kim. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? Maybe do your show, let them know when that is and what times they can find you.
Sure, I can plug that in. My show is on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's called Talent Exposed. I bring on people from the creative and performing arts industry, and I interview them, and if they want to share their talents, I let them do that.
Awesome. Alrighty, guys. So don't forget to check that out. Don't forget to favorite Kim Possible. Thank you so much for coming on and being my guest tonight, Kim. I appreciate you so much. And I hope that you guys have a good night. I'm going to go ahead and let you go and finish up here with everybody else. And I will be seeing you very soon, Miss Kim.
Alright,
Bye.
I'm not sure how to exit.
I got you, Kim. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining in Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods. We do this every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Emoji J, thank you so much for the recording. If you guys want to go back through and recap this episode of Uncover Paranormal, you guys can find Emoji J on YouTube and go and recap it. Much appreciated, love. If you guys want to join in another one, don't forget Wednesday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I personally go live usually around, I'm going to try to go live around 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my normal times as well, just so you guys kind of get used to seeing me at that same time, so we can get it rolling. We do usually do 2 topics, but I do want to start having more people in the stream. So if you guys are interested in being a guest on the show, find me at the Blair Woods on Instagram. That's THE Blair Woods on Instagram, and let me know that you're interested in being on the show. We will set something up. And if you guys, oh my God, yes, if you guys want to go and I don't know, if you guys have things that you want me to dive more into for the show, you guys can tell me that on Instagram as well. So, what's the name of the horse? That's a centaur. So, I never tell the topics early. I don't want you guys to have time to look it up and Google it. I want, if you guys don't know what they are, I want you guys to learn as we go. So, that being said, I'm not telling you what the topics are for next week. That being said, I am going to go ahead and get off for just a couple of seconds, go eat something, and then I'm also going to get back on for tonight too, just for our regular stream. And yeah, so I'll see you guys in just a couple of seconds. Hope you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for tuning in to Uncover Paranormal with Blair Woods and Kim. If you guys didn't favorite her, you guys better favorite her. Anywho, I will see you guys in just a few minutes, and we will chit chat and sing a little in just a few minutes. Thank you guys.